So I just learned that California has sued the Trump administration, and I couldn't be happier about it. This is why we have so much good coming out of a state that is normally pretty maligned and treated like it's different than the rest of the country. It is different, but it's different because it's like 3 times bigger than most states, 4 or 5 times bigger than most states. Their GDP contribution is in the billions of dollars. Their talent, people that they send, when we have research coming out of a state, 9 times out of 10, it's coming from California. Now, the situation that I'm seeing here is that these big states and most of the contribution and the value and the GDP is coming out of locations that are largely Democratic. Now, before you tune me out, what I'm saying is that these tariffs have hurt our farmers in rural areas in ways that you cannot make up for. When you put a tariff on and it's so extreme and it's so shocking, and then you walk it back, their suppliers, their customers, and people they import and export to and from, they've already had to find different alternatives. They use the word diversify a lot, but they find alternatives, alternative sources, alternative suppliers, alternative customers, because they've had to. They see this tariff coming down the pike. They're like, I don't know what it's going to do with America, but we are not seeing companies locating back here. We're not seeing Tim Cook with Apple, for example, saying, oh yeah, I was dealing with China, now I'm going to bring everything back to America. No, he can't do it quickly enough, for one thing, but he's going to India. So let's have some common sense here. The tariffs have hurt senior citizens, people who have 401k, and that you can't get that back. A lot of people who are living off their 401ks are at that point in their life, they don't have time to make it up. What I care about is there are people in America who are hurting that weren't hurting. And we're seeing a lot of these cuts that are happening to people in federal government jobs, and they're being treated like they had no expertise in these things, or that they were completely getting kickbacks and graft and all this stuff. And that's a bunch of nonsense. We had people giving of their time and not making the kind of money they could have made in the private sector, maybe, but they were committed to an America that honored them. The cuts, the economic kerfluffle of the tariffs is not over, because you see, though they were walked back because those numbers were AI ridiculous, the 10% tariffs that were left on, that's sort of hidden, like brushed under the rug. Like we still put on 10% tariffs. I get it. You can look at our trade deficits and imbalances that way, but understand something. Americans do not want to work in manufacturing plants. We never have particularly wanted to do that. But we have glamorized manufacturing plants because we still need our manufacturers to continue to manufacture in the United States. But in terms of trying to bring business into the States and make it a manufacturing business, those days are pretty much done. And I think that Elon Musk is trying to create demand for his robotics. Now that's just a thought I need to pursue. But what we have is the states that have been providing for our country, that have been relying on the contracts they had with Canadians or Mexicans, they are hurting the most. And they're the ones that we owe the most to. So I get it that we're looking for other ways to pay off the debt and to find other sources of income to handle the debt. But it isn't going to come from cutting out USAID, which has contracts with our rural farmers. It isn't going to come from that. It will come from supporting the GDP that we already have, supporting those companies in counties that are already contributing to our country, not hitting them with tariffs so that it damages their relationships that have taken decades to build. it will take supporting them. So subsidies of some kind, yeah, probably. But how does that handle the problem of the debt? So you're going to see where down the pike, what Trump's plan is to go after our minerals in the United States. So he's creating a crisis in this economy to justify getting rid of red tape so that there can be mining in other places in the country. You're going to see this. And it's going to be after they've discredited all these programs that have stood for, good health, for handling climate change, for anything that has been a positive gift to humanity, like enjoying our national resources and our national parks. You're going to see that the Trump administration is going after the almighty dollar. And in the case of our national parks, the almighty dollar is underground. So that's next in Behind the Curtain. Thank you for being here.